We was in a conversation. And during that conversation, I asked God, was I a good person? And he told me no. He said I was not a good person. He said I never chose, and this was like over my life. He said I never chose to ask him and seek him what his will was, and what his will was for me and is for me. I never chose to ask God what his will was for my life, the life that he gave his son to die for me. You know, I never asked God, you know, what I was supposed to do. I never asked God that, what his will was for me. And when he told me that, it hurt me so bad. It shook me up to the core. It's a pain that's indescribable. And it's more so important to hear that pain that it was the first time, like I say, the first time I heard that Holy Spirit was something much different than this night. This night, the power and like the fear, like this is God. You know, I was talking to God, and then it's, you know, I don't know how it all works. You know, if it was still the Holy Spirit, but with the Holy Spirit with, you know, a little more power, a little more, not vengeance, but, you know, it was just a lot more different. You know, that first experience was a mind-waking, shake you up experience to hear the Bible speak to you and talk to you. But then that night, it was a voice that was so strong and powerful. And that's the night that I got the fear of the Lord in my heart. He explained to me to hear the Lord is to gain the fear of the Lord. To hear him, to actually hear him, is to gain the fear of the Lord. And he explained to me that's what was going on, how I gained the fear of the Lord. That night is what changed my life from transgressing. He explained to me all the way up to that point, and a little later on he explained this to me, but all the way up to that point I had been transgressing. And transgressing means, like, when he was, that whole time from 2002 to 2004, I had been reading the Bible and hearing him and doing little things. But when he gave me a word, I wouldn't exactly step into that word. I wouldn't exactly possess that word that he would give to me. You know, and it was so many different things that I got to tell you about. Like, he told me I would go through something 7 times. I went through something 7 times. He said I would go through something, I would forget that I'm going through it, that he told me that I'd go through it and I'd come out and I'd glorify his name. It's so many different things that was going on. Like, wow, man. But I forgot what I was trying to tell you. But the point was, I had been transgressing that whole time. And once I gained that fear of the Lord, to hear him was to gain the fear of him, that actually took away every shadow of doubt, he explained to me. There's a shadow of doubt that lingers around us, you know, or however you describe it. That shadow of doubt is what keeps some of us from actually possessing God's promises and stepping into God's will. You know, I used to say before 2002 and before 2004, it's like, I know God exists, man. How else can we be on the earth and we're not flying off, going so fast? How else can we have these clouds and skies? How can you explain this stuff if that's not a God? If somebody didn't really create this stuff? In different instances, you know, like people see ghosts and all this other type of spirits and different stuff. And it's like, how can we explain all this if it's not a God? You know, I kind of justified the fact that there was a God. When I heard God speak to me that night, that took away every shadow of a doubt. Like, God, you are real. Heaven is real. And more importantly, you are real. And also, hell is real. And that was another fear that got to me. Like, man, as I began to get into it and understand everything that was going on, like, man, I'm like, was right there, not really knowing, like, man, you're right there in the steps of hell. You know, you like right there. you right there, man. All the rotten, crooked stuff I was doing and the way I was living, it's like, man, I'm right there with hell. You dig what I'm saying? So much way. Just, I'm gonna talk about just for me. You know, I'm not putting nothing on nobody else. But it's that it's a thin line. Like God says, man, the path is narrow, man. It's real narrow, man. That is narrower than that needle pin the head of a needle, man. It's like, man, it's real narrow, man. It's real narrow. But the path to the other way, man, is wide. It's wide. You know, and we go by our own beliefs and our own thinking and our own thoughts and understanding to really think like, hey, man, you know, hey, I ain't the worst person.